My name is Zach. We are going to be covering dues and billing and attendance 3 today. I'm being a bit repetitive, so I apologize. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're on our demo club site here. I'm going to go ahead and get logged into the members area. Now, this club is already converted to attendance 3. If it wasn't yet converted to attendance 3, you wouldn't see these unbolded links here. If you wanted to convert to attendance 3, the easiest thing to do is click on the Attendance 3 Beta tab, and then click on the Dashboard link, which I clicked on right here, where you can see this yellow marker right now. There'd be options for actually converting. Unfortunately, converting does take a little bit of time, so I can't do it first and then show you guys, but it's pretty straightforward. You check some checkboxes. You say, migrate my data. If there are any problems, it'll tell you and prompt you on how to resolve those. And if you guys run into those, please absolutely contact us and we'll be happy to help you work through them. So I guess the first place to get started with probably is the attendance rules and settings. And the only reason we're going to start here is there's a whole bunch of options here that will impact how your attendance is calculated. And this is a good place to start after you migrate, because a lot of the stuff will be put in here. So we have two different membership types currently, active and honorary. An active member is any membership type in the active category that explicitly is not honorary. So pretty much everyone who's not honorary. You can change how it's counted. So always count means the total number of members. In this case, we're just going to go with 10 total. All of your members are active. All 10 of them will always, it'll always count. So if someone shows up or doesn't show up, the total number doesn't change. For honorary members, they're set to count if attend. So what this means is, in our example, let's say we have 8 active members and 2 honorary members. If neither of our honorary members attend, our attendance totals will now be out of 8. If one of them attended, it'd be 9. And if both of them attended, it'd be 10. So in an example where neither of our honorary members show up, our attendance totals would now be out of 8 out of, whoever shows up out of 8 instead of whomever shows up out of 10. The same can be said for our excused members, exempted members, and this other category, which is not normally here. Exempted and excused. Excused is typically for people who are on short leaves. So you can add an excused member. Let's say someone does have a medical emergency. You know that they're going to be out for, let's say, 2 months. You can come in, click on the add exclusion, and then you can choose when their excuse date starts. And let's say he's done, you can come back in here, and if it changes, you can come back in here and remove it, etc. Going back to that area, which is the attendance rules and settings over here, we're going to take a look at exempted members. So right now we have our excused members set to count if attend. I think typically for a lot of clubs, the excused members are, everyone uses them differently. So they can be sick leave, they can be a permanent leave. I think exempted, with the way we have it set up in this club, is from until, but maybe I am wrong. No, also the same. So exempted members, same thing, just a different classification. And the important thing is that you can control whether or not they're always count if attended, or never count. So right now we have exempted members set to never count. So in our scenario, again, if we have 9 active members, no honorary members, and 10 active members, and one is set to be exempted and they're set to never count, the count for the club is always going to be 9 out of 10. Leaves of absences are better for short things. Again, sick would probably be better, and I apologize for the excuse member. So leave of absence is great. So let's say we do have someone who is going to be on leave of absence. We can go into the leave of absence area, and we can set up a leave of absence. So just in this case, Abby Jo is sick leave. Start date will be, let's just say tomorrow, and it will end January 1st. So at this point, there's a clear start and end date, and this record will always be in here. And Abby should be in here somewhere. I'm thinking she got added to the second page. Here's Abby Jo. Apparently she's been on sick leave before and she's not having a good time. The other big setting in our attendance rules and setting area is the enforced 2-week makeup rule. So right now we have two options for this. Either we are enforcing the rule, and if it is enforced, makeups can only be applied within that 2 weeks, 2 weeks ahead, 2 weeks behind. If you uncheck it, makeups can be implemented at any time. I know we're looking at potentially changing this, so that might change in the future, and I'm sure we'll do another webinar and we'll cover it then. But just for today's webinar, we're going to go ahead and enforce it. So it means when I add a makeup, if I add a makeup today, and you know, I wanted to apply at a meeting that happened a month ago, that's not going to fly because that's more than 2 weeks out. So this is the settings. Again, really important, like right after you migrate, make sure your members are where they're supposed to be, their settings are where they're supposed to be, so you know, there's no questions about that. So let's get into, let's cover the dashboard real quick. As you continue to based on your previous year's attendance and your current attendance, we currently show the last 2 Rotary years, and for most clubs these will be 2 nice little graph lines that show you the difference between the current year and the previous year, so you can kind of see, is your attendance going up, is it going down, etc. And you can also see the recent meetings here. Clicking on View All Meetings down here will take you to the meetings list. So let's go over to the meetings. We don't have a whole lot, but I'll go ahead and add a meeting for yesterday. And the important thing about yesterday is that Abby, technically, the person that we put on a leave, is eligible for this meeting because her leave hadn't started, her new leave of absence, or her new leave hadn't started yet. So we'll go into the actual meeting by clicking on the name of the meeting, and then after a minute the people in our club will load, and you can see that we have all of our members, all of our active members, and whether they have exempted or leave of absences. We have our honorary members, and so just for the sake of argument, I'm going to check everybody and make it really easy for me. I guess actually I shouldn't do that. So we're going to leave Lee and Paul unchecked. Those are the only 2 out of all of our members who didn't attend the meeting. If you want to see more at a time, you can change the number of records to display. So these are the numbers of members to display, 25 at a time, 50 at a time, 100 at a time, or if you're you want, you can view all your members at the same time. As a quick note, while you're currently looking on these pages, so as this page you can see 25, as you change pages here, it will remember which ones you have selected, so as long as you don't leave this page altogether, like you don't go to guests or makeups, your check marks will save. You don't have to like do this page, hit save, come back to page 3, do page 4. Check all your members and hit save, and it'll go through. So let me go ahead and save. We had really good attendance this meeting. And as you can see, we had a 98% attendance. This is based on the members who always count, actual member count versus attended, count if attended. These are the members that fit into that type, which is excused and honorary, and never count, which are these three categories. Now, let's say we had a couple guests show up from another club, or you know, maybe you want to record your guest speaker. The guest tab, which is immediately next to the attendance tab, will let you record these people, and they will be recorded into the contact system, which is something that's going to be coming in the near future. Our speaker was Joe Smith. Joe at example.com, speaker. Great speech. We hit save. He gets added as a speaker. He doesn't count towards any of our actual meeting statistics, but he is a guest in the meeting, and you can come and see it, and we're hopefully going to be having some reporting information on guests. The last thing we're going to cover is makeups, at least in the meeting screen here. As far as makeups go, if we had eligible makeups for this meeting, this big button here would be lit up. And we'd be able to apply the makeups directly to this meeting by hitting this button. Boom, it would apply it. There's no further work. And I expect for a lot of you that's going to be the case day to day. So before we wrap this up, I'll show you guys how to add a makeup, and then we'll come back here and automatically apply it. But just in this case, let's say we know Lee contacted us. They already had a makeup. We hadn't gotten it in yet, so we'll go ahead and add a makeup directly to this meeting for Lee. Hopefully I remember his name. There you go. I don't think that's the right person. Sorry, guys. Let's get his name. Go back and add a makeup. There it is, Lee. So we're going to say his makeup date was on the 9th. We already have it directly applied to a meeting because we're adding it from the meeting. We're going to go ahead and hit save. And it added his makeup directly to the meeting. So now we have 98%, 98 reported with one makeup. Let's go take a look at the makeups real quick, just so I can show you guys how the auto apply makeups works. So Paul Cochran. We're going to add a makeup for Paul. So we're going to find Paul in here. Hopefully, there he is. So we've got Paul. We've selected as of our member. We're going to put his makeup date. We can put it as today. You know, he went to another club, did his meeting. We're just going to save it as banked for the purposes of this demonstration, and we're going to go ahead and hit save. So this added a makeup that is banked. It's not currently assigned in the meeting, and if he doesn't do something to use it within the 2-week rule, it kind of will just fall away. So we're going to go back to our meetings now. We're going to go to our November 10th meeting. Once the page finishes loading here, we're going to go to the Makeups tab. And now we can see Paul here, Paul Cochran. He has one qualified makeup for this meeting. And if we click Auto Assign, he has now had his makeup applied directly to this meeting with no additional effort. So it's a great function. The only note I will tell you is if this meeting was the same as today, you would not be able to use it until the day passes. So if this was today's meeting, I would have to wait until tomorrow to automatically apply makeups, and that's just to make sure that you don't accidentally apply them. So in this very specific case, we are 100% done with this meeting. We literally have 100% attendance. Perfect. We're great. I know I'm not going to make any more changes to this. I'm going to close this meeting. And it's really important to close meetings because until you actually close a meeting, the data doesn't get reported up to your district, and it doesn't get calculated on your members' attendance pages. So we've been lax in our reporting, so I'm going to go ahead and close these. And as you close them, all of these meeting information will start becoming available in the attendance report by year, the monthly club report, and the customized attendance report, as well as in the My Club Runner section. So Sue, being who I am today, I'm going to go look at my attendance now. Now I can see that I closed all of these meetings. I was here for 2, I missed 3. My attendance is pretty bad so far, but I have plenty of time to make that up for the rest of the year. So, but until you close those meetings, they won't actually show up. So let's go back to the meetings page real quick. If I reopen a meeting like July 4th, for example, and I don't reclose it, you're going to see that July 4th meeting has not there. It's reflected the totals. So it's really important to close meetings. And then one of the best parts of Attendance 3 is that now you guys are not, you don't have to contact Club Runner. You don't have to contact us just to reopen a meeting. If, let's say I did make a mistake on November 10th, I can reopen the meeting. I can go in here and let's just say I don't know, whoever's going to come up at the top of my list, I accidentally checked them off. Mike Aaron didn't actually attend this meeting. Can hit save. We've updated our attendance. I can close the meeting back out again. No need to contact us. Open and close whenever you want. It's pretty fantastic. Which I know it's a big difference because previously you guys reported a whole month or set of months, like 2 in a row. Now opening, like as soon as you're done entering attendance for the day, I would recommend closing it so people know, and then as makeups come in, you can go and apply the makeups directly to the meetings themselves. Or you can go bank them or auto-apply them, etc. We covered leave of absences earlier with the attendance rules and settings, but again, leave of absences link on the left-hand side between meetings and makeups. You can continue to add more leaves. If a meeting is closed and you backdate something, you'd have to go open and reclose those meetings, just so you're aware. Let's go back to makeups though real quick, and we will cover a little bit more. So you can do add multiple makeups. So this is where you add, let's say 5 people went to another club's meeting or a board meeting, or they performed at a function, they volunteered, which might count as a makeup in your guys' club. You can come in here, you can select, let's just take these 3 people right here. These 3 people, they volunteered. For November 11th, or actually we're going to backdate this just a little bit. No, sorry. They volunteered on November 11th. As long as they use these within 2 weeks, they're good. They'll have those attendance makeup, and we added 3 of them directly. So now they have the banked makeups. We're going to cover the other 2 functions for single ads. So like when you're adding a single person at a time, let's just say for Abby Joe here, we can set the makeup date to whatever date we want. I believe they had a missed meeting in August, so we're going to hope this this works. It might not because it's closed, but so we're going to say their makeup was for August 24th. If we choose banked, it will bank it. Nothing else happens. If we choose auto assign, the system will attempt to assign it to any eligible meeting that they have based on the 2-week rule or not 2-week rule. Lastly, we have apply to a meeting. We can select to apply it directly to a specific meeting. So I could say this one. I think it'll work. So there we go. We directly assigned a meeting that Abby Joe here did for August 22nd. The makeup date was August 21st. It went right to the meeting we told it to. I hope that is pretty straightforward so far. We'll cover some of the reports options. So our first report is the print member list. This is the older attendance member sheet. It gives you your users, your active and honorary by default. If you want, you can check it for other users. Useful if you have corporate members in your club, or you just maybe you have a couple of your guests that come regularly aren't members but do have accounts in your club. Checking or unchecking the box updates the list. The other thing that's really important to note here is we have the meeting date, and the date of the meeting will base who shows up and who shows up and why they show up in the system. So let's say we terminate someone tomorrow. If I print out the attendance list for November 10th and not November 12th, they won't actually, they'll still show here until their termination date passes, and I hope that makes some sense. Same thing going back. If someone hadn't been terminated prior to November 10th and we go back and print it for the 6th or something like that, again, members will show or not show based on how they should. You can also sort by first name instead of sorting by last name, comma, first name. You can click it again and it'll redo the sort. And then, of course, hitting the print button will pop up a new tab, automatically prepared, and you have your attendance sheet. Go ahead and cancel this because I don't need to actually print it. I don't even know if this computer's hooked up to the printer right now. So this is the advanced one. It's similar to the old standard print member sheet. We have the simple one. It's very similar to this, except it's just a list of names. The nice thing here is we do have 2 columns instead of just 1. The meeting date works the same way. Based on the date of the meeting, it will decide who is and isn't here. You can also, again, sort by first name instead of by last name if you're so inclined, and then the print button again prompts you to print it out. And as you can see here, here's all of our data for our members. Next, we'll cover the attendance report by year. Attendance report by year is literally the Rotary year's worth of attendance, all the people, the meetings, etc. It'll take a minute to load. Especially since we have a higher number. So here you can see all of the members in the club, literally, the percentage of meetings that they have attended, the year-to-date attendance, how many makeups they've done, how many bank makeups they have, how many makeups they've applied to meetings with the makeups column, the number of meetings that they've missed, the number of meetings that they have attended, and any notes. And the notes are more or less automatically generated from comments entered into exemptions, attendance, etc. And of course you can filter. So let's say I only want to see Abby Joe. Well, there's Abby, Joe. So you can filter on this page. It's pretty straightforward. And again, once again, there is a print view for this option. So you can hit print, and it essentially gives you a report that would probably be good to really copy and paste into Excel or print the members' data. And it's taking a moment. So yeah, goes through everyone. The nice thing is, let's say you do want to, let's just say Susan here, we want to take a look at the meetings that she has missed versus, here's the print version, sorry, to change gears, but here's the actual printable version that will come out when you print those. Nice big data report. And from, I know I'm flipping here, so I'm sorry. So I went and I clicked on Susan Schramm, and when I clicked it, it takes me to this page, and you can see the individual items for Susan. So just to highlight how, once you're on the attendance report by year, you can click on any member's name, and that will take you to their individual attendance data. This is something that's only available in the attendance thing. It's not something that only the club executives who can manage the attendance can actually see. The monthly club report, I don't think that click went through. The monthly club report is what effectively most districts either want, or what most, if a district is not on Club Runner, this is more often than not what the districts are expecting us to report to them. So if your district isn't on Club Runner, this is the data that you can give them. If your district is on Club Runner, this is more or less what they're going to see, and they're going to see the total members reported, the new members, the terminated members, how many meetings were closed, so effectively how many meetings you had in the month, what your gain and loss is in the month, and your year-to-date gain or loss in the club. And of course, the monthly attendance percentage, which is the average of all of your meetings over the course of the month. Like I said earlier, anytime you close a meeting, the information on this page is updated almost immediately. And then finally, we'll get to the customized attendance report. This currently defaults to the last 6 months, and it basically allows you to look at a section of time for everybody in the club. I typically recommend looking at it in a month-by-month setup because it'll give you that data a lot quicker, but you can really customize it for, I believe it's currently up to 6 months. So, it is now. So it only defaulted the last 30 days, so that's good. It used to default to a longer period of time. But so for the last 30 days, you can see, I guess actually this is the last 6 months. I apologize. We don't have a whole lot of meetings in here. So you can select your date range, and like everything else in Club Runner, let's say I want to look at August 1st to October 1st. I hit go. I don't even know if that's going to, I guess that'll give me like a couple meetings. So here, now we're only looking at that one time period. We see that we have 3 minutes and we can see all the information. Again, clicking on a member's name will take you to their profile so you can see their individual stats for the year. There is a key down at the bottom, but the real simple thing is that a check mark means that they attended the meeting. Blank space means that they did not. M is a makeup if it's there. Empty means, again, they're not there. Purple indicates that they were on a leave of absence. Blue was that they were exempted or excused for that individual meeting. Gray indicates that the member was not yet a part of the club or had been terminated during that meeting. So if we had terminated a member here, you'd see that the meetings were grayed out and that they're no longer there for them. So I think that's going to cover most of what's available in Attendance 3. I'm going to go ahead and see if anybody has any questions, and then from there we'll jump into dues and billing. So give me just a minute here, and I'll start unmuting people. Oh, there have been questions. Maybe? Yes, there are a bunch of questions. So let me go through everybody, and I'll give them their questions. And if I don't see that we didn't cover their questions in there, we'll come back to that. So, Barb, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Hi, Barb. Did you have any questions about the Attendance 3 area? Okay. I couldn't hear you, Barb, but if you do have questions, do feel free to put them in the chat of the questions area. David. Sorry, I don't have a way to improve the sample screen, David, and I apologize for that. I will go back over and open and close the meetings, and we'll cover the funds distribution stuff. So go ahead and unmute you. I had to pull up the questions thing. So let's go back to the list of meetings. You can close meetings a couple different ways. Either here on the list of meetings, there is the reopen option if it's closed, and if it's not currently closed, you can close it either here on the list of meetings, or if you go directly into the meeting itself, there's a nice big, well, it's not that big right now, but there is a close link on the right-hand side in the meeting itself. Clicking on the close link will give you a nice little prompt, and then you can hit OK, and it will go ahead and close the meeting out. As far as the print member list attendance sheet, which is, I think, where you're talking about the fun stuff, if you guys have any comments or concerns about this sheet or what it currently has, I would absolutely advise you guys to send an email to support@clubrunner.ca with whatever feedback you'd like to see on how this has changed, because there isn't really a way to change it right now. David, was there anything else? David Clark, was there anything else that you had questions about? Thank you, David. David Powers, sorry there were two of you. For the 2-week rule, currently, yes. If you don't enforce the 2-week rule, you can effectively put it anywhere you want. I'm pretty sure we're going to be changing that to be a slider based on a rotary year instead of 2 weeks or all time. So, but as of right now, it's either 2 weeks are enforced or 2 weeks aren't enforced. Of course, nothing stops the people taking from attendance from either changing that setting temporarily, or when they apply the actual makeup, they could backdate it and leave a note. David, did you have any, David Powers, did you have any other questions about that? I'm going to assume, oh, there you go, okay. George Pierce, did you have any questions about the attendance 3 system? Going to assume that is a no. Heather Bower, did you have any questions about the attendance 3 system? No. Okay, thank you. Kevin Stevens, any questions about attendance 3? All right, and Tina, did you have any questions about attendance 3?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
All right, so now we'll go get into the nitty-gritty with dues and billing. So transitioning over into the other section of Club Runner, dues and billing is available through the organization tabs link dues and billing, and I believe it's also on the administrative screen, so I'll show you guys both ways to get into that. Here's also the admin page while I'm waiting for dues and billing. So dues and billing is also available under the membership manager. If you're on the home page, you can just come down to membership manager and click dues and billing here. Of course it doesn't want to work. There's the highlight, just dues and billing. So again, organization tab, dues and billing, or the membership manager, dues and billing. Either will get you into the dues and billing area. So basically, this is a great way to set up invoices to send out to your membership to track the payments or literally dues for the club. I don't know what you guys specifically invoice. Usually it seems like lunches and Rotary and club dues. So that's that. We're going to start with the configuration settings just so we can start there. It's usually this would be set up, someone probably set it up before anyone, potentially before you guys got there, but if it isn't, or if you're curious where the billing address comes or the payment options are for, or any of these things, it's in here. So by default, we have the billing address. This is the address that's going to print on the actual invoices when we generate them. So you need to change, you get your first two address lines, city, state, zip code, country, currency that is set to be displayed. And we have a whole wonderful lot of options, which I'm guessing for most people is going to be US or Canadian dollars. When you create new line items, you have two options. By default, you can either apply them to everybody, but until you hit save, it doesn't do anything. It just selects everybody to apply them to, or don't apply it to anybody and let me do those. I'm going to set it to all members just so you guys can see how that works. And for dues and billing, you can choose to show X members or honorary members. Maybe they have an outstanding invoice, or maybe you didn't create an invoice before they were terminated, but you still want to send them one. If you have that checked, you can do that. I'm going to remove X members because we have a lot in this club. And then tax rates, if you guys do have to collect tax for any reason, you guys can set your federal or state tax. And if you're in the U.S., you don't have a federal tax, so you can just set the state tax. And then if you have our online billing module through Sage, if you're in the United States, or Beamstream, if you're in Canada, you can set those options here. And if you do have multiple accounts, it will show up like this. Just make sure you select the right one. And it's a global setting for all dues and billing. So you can't pick and choose which ones they go into. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'm going to go back to the home. So first we're going to cover creating a bill. Now, creating a bill, let's say we have a brand new set of dues. We're going to come in here. We're going to see this create new bill link up in the top right-hand corner of the billing homepage. I guess it's technically, let's just say quarter two dues. We're just going to put the due date is December 11th. Comments will show up. This is for lunch and club dues for second quarter. There we go. So that will also show up on the invoice. The only thing that's required absolutely here is the description. Comments are optional, but you can choose whether or not to add them or when you hit save, it takes you into the actual due page. And so regardless of any of the stuff that I've set on the title of this, or the title, quarter two dues, or the comments, those don't actually impact the amount or the cost or anything. Treat this a lot like you would a business invoice. You have to add line items to your invoices. So I want to add an invoice. I'm going to add an item here. So as you can see, everybody is selected. So this is a quarter, so should be 3. We're going to do lunches, and let's just say the unit price per lunch is $15. So you can see we have 3 invoices at $15 each, and the line type is lunches. So as you can see, everybody, all of our active members are now going to get invoiced on a line item for $45 for 3 lunches at $15. Let's just say for some reason Abby Joe here, they choose a vegetarian option and for whatever reason it's cheaper. They're going to get $10. The only person who gets updated on this is Abby because we just affected theirs. And let's just say Vivian only had 2 and Brian had none. He didn't come to, he didn't have lunch. Maybe he has special dietary restrictions. So all of those update just for them. They're specific to those people you change them to. The top area is to set the global default rate, and then the individual areas are so you can customize the invoices to individual people. And so if I've done with all of my changes here, I can go ahead and hit save. It will automatically, it'll show me how many members it was applied to, the cost. We're going to do the same for dues. We'll do 3 again. This is for dues. And we're going to say $30. So it's $90 for the 3 months. Same deal. Let's just say Al here. He already paid or he has a credit. We don't want to invoice him again. You can uncheck them or you can set it to 0, etc. So same deal as last time. You can see what you've already invoiced up at the top, your global stuff, the members. So let me go ahead and hit save here. So now we've got 3 lunches, which is a total of $52.35, and 3 sets of dues for 117 people at 10 grand, roughly. If you want to look at the invoices before you generate the invoice, which is a really good idea, make sure everybody's stuff, you can click on the billing roster link here. There it is. I'm waiting for it to actually pull up. And it's really important to at least do a quick once-over on your billing roster, because if for some reason you don't see someone who's getting their applied, that they don't have the right totals, or maybe they weren't missed, or just to say nobody has stuff, it's really good to come in here, because once you generate the invoice, which is the next step, you're done. You can't do anything else besides delete the invoice. So just up at the top here, we have our couple people, Abby, sorry, who had 3 lunches, 3 dues, but their lunches were cheaper. We had Vivian, who only had 2, and we had Brian, who had no lunches for whatever reason. You can still see that it'll show up that he had 0, but they were $15 each, so he has 0. As if we come down to Al here, you'll see that Al doesn't have any dues for whatever the reason, because we literally unchecked him from the invoice. So I'm going to go ahead and save actually I don't think there's anything to do here. So we're going to go ahead and hit our back button on our browser to go back to the batch main. And so at this time, we've set up our line charges, we've reviewed the invoices, make sure everyone's good. Now we're ready to generate the invoices. And again, as soon as you click Generate Invoices, you can't change the line items, you can't change who is supposed to be billed, it's set in stone. So as soon as you do this, it's done. The only way to undo this for everybody, the only way to undo or change anything is to literally delete it and start over again. So I'm finalizing this. I'm generating the invoice. These people will now owe the club money. And if we click View Individual Invoices here, now that the invoices have been generated, you can see that everybody has their invoices. If you'd like to see what the actual invoice looks like, you can click View/Print. This is basically let's say you needed to print this out to bring it to them. If you print this, it'll come out nice and plain and clean. You can now send them your invoice. Assuming you wanted, if you were, let's say everything's perfect, no problems, you can select literally all of the members And you can email them by clicking the email button here, the email button up at the top, email selected invoices. Anyone who's checked will have their invoice sent to them. Let's say one person didn't get them, you could click email and it'll send it just to that one person. You can also download them, and if you download, it'll literally download one invoice per person into a single file, and you'll see that pop up at the bottom of my screen in a second here. It's pretty straightforward as far as actually generating the invoices, where it can get a little tricky just because it's accounting and not just, oh, I made a mistake, take it away. Yeah. So let me get into account statements. The account statements page is basically the total information of everybody as they stand today. And right now, a lot of people should be owing us a lot of money because we just created an invoice and effectively nobody's paid it yet. And I really think this computer hates me. I think it's stuck doing something. Give me just a moment. I think my browser's giving me more trouble than Club Runner is. Sorry about the delay. I don't know. My computer was having a hiccup here. So, sorry, we're back in dues and billing, and hopefully it'll go a little bit quicker now. Yay. All right. So, account statements. This shows you the total balance. Apparently, we're owed almost $1 million. If only our members would pay what they're outstanding. So one of the things that kind of comes up to us more often than not is how do I get people to notice that, hey, the club owes them money. So what you can do is you can check somebody and you can send a statement by email. And basically what it'll do is it will send them this balance, like, here's your old balance and you still have not paid us any money. You owe us $5,000 now. Because you can see that here's the previous balance that they had. Here is the last invoice that we sent them. Here's another invoice that we sent them, and they still haven't paid. Let's say, in this rare case, Joe Abbey has cut us a check. We can go into the payment entry. Because we were last looking at Abby, or Joe Abbey, it will automatically load them, but if we wanted someone else, we can absolutely select them from the list. So for Joe, payment in nearly full, we'll say that they cut us a check for $5,000. For some reason, they couldn't manage that extra $10. And the transaction date is for today. So we'd selected our member. In this case, it was automatically selected for us. We can see how much they owe. We can put a comment in. Check number 0082, whatever. This is the check number that they gave us. The amount for the check or payment, whatever it is, and the transaction date. And when I hit post and I hit OK, it now added a payment onto their account. So you can see here's a payment for $5,000. Abby now owes us $10, and again, we can send this statement by email, and it will send them that they still are outstanding $10. Credit adjustments. Basically, if you guys make any mistakes on somebody's account, let's say we accidentally did 2 payment entries for Joe Abby here. Let's just say we did 100 for Abby again. Now we've overpaid. We technically owe Abby $90. But realistically, we entered an extra 0, so that was our fault. What you can do is you can do what's called a cancel transaction. Payment was for $10, not $100. So we need to enter negative $90 here, so that's going to zero out the extra that we added. So we're 100. We had 10, not 100. So the amount is 90. Hit post. The system will commute that transaction to Joe Abby, and then their balance will be all good. And it didn't go through for some reason. The important thing, mostly the reason you'd use cancel transaction over a credit adjustment, which is you're giving them credit, or a debit adjustment, they owe money, is because the way the accounting software will take a look at it, it's typically better to void a transaction. -90 for today. Oh, won't let me post it for today. Why won't it let me post it for today? That's weird. It should technically let me do that, and I don't know why it's not letting me. So normally you absolutely should be able to enter a negative transaction here. Credits are for payments on the account. You can do a debit adjustment, which is to add a charge to the account. Cancel transaction, as we covered just a moment ago, is for balancing out, like you made a mistake, so you need to cancel it. You can, of course, use debit or credit. It's up to you, as long as your books are balanced at the end of the day, or you're happy with whatever use of accounting that you've done. We have an export to QuickBooks function. It will generally actually export your data to QuickBooks. You can select a date range, let's just say from November 1st to November 30th. And if you do to export to QuickBooks Desktop, it'll ask you some information. You need to make sure that these match directly to whatever it says in your QuickBooks. When you hit download, it'll download a file for you, and you can import that into QuickBooks. Export to QuickBooks Online, it creates a zip for you with all the stuff that you need to import into QuickBooks Online. This is a general thing we don't really support. Like, we support getting it into QuickBooks, but that's kind of where it stops, as long as it imports reasonably okay, or it is importing at all. We can try and help, but the scope of support as far as QuickBooks is mostly on QuickBooks end of things. You can take a look at your debit and credit reports, excuse me, and you will see it's again based on date. So we can look at September 1st to today, and if we refresh, it'll show us basically what's happening. So if I don't, so you can see, here's Joe Abbey here. Let's do November 1st to, so this shows the first day of the month, and if I refresh it, you'll see that Abby hasn't paid yet. However, if I go to the end of the month and I refresh again, you'll see that Abby is actually owed $90 now because it wouldn't let me put that transaction through. Monthly balance report is the balance as of the first of the month for each month. So the date selector is more about getting what dates you want. So this is currently looking at the last 4 months. You can say, you know, I shouldn't say regenerate barcode file, but you can look at it for any period of time, more or less, that you want. And I think I covered pretty much everything in here. I'm gonna. Did anybody have any questions? I see there's only about 3 of you left now. So David, did you have any questions about attendance 3 or dues and billing? Moving on. Kevin, did you have any other questions?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Yep. Tina, did you have any questions?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Not a problem. So just as an FYI, guys, if you have any questions, comments, and concerns about today's webinar, please send an email, support@clubrunner.ca. We're happy for the feedback. In addition, if you have any general feedback about the program at any point in time, even something we didn't cover today, again, please feel free to send an email to support@clubrunner.ca. We get a lot of feedback. We're always trying to improve the product, and without you guys, we can't make it happen. So if you have anything else, again, please let us know, and thank you for attending today.